Hey folks, Seattle Forge here, and I thought I would take a minute to do a short recording, hopefully it's short, on some advice for folks who might be going to Tank Fest for the first time. So that's the Tank Fest in Bovington, United Kingdom. Fantastic event put on by the Tank Museum in Bovington, right near the military base there. And I went last year rather last minute and was unprepared, which is unlike me, but that's the way it went. And because it was last minute, I didn't have an opportunity to purchase a VIP ticket, which is what the community contributors get an equivalent of, with, covered seating and views of the arena, and they're ushered into the museum proper, the museum buildings, and so on. For those of you who don't have a VIP ticket, this guide is for you. So I didn't have a VIP ticket. I bought late. They go really quickly. They go up pretty close after the Tank Fest before, and go very quickly. And so you're not going to have a place to sit. You're not going to have an easy time getting into the museum buildings proper, where a lot of the visiting displays are. So I went there last year, and I had to stay a fair bit away, as I didn't plan. And there's actually not much near Bovington. So don't expect to get your plane ticket and then somehow get a train, drop you off at Bovington with a pub next door to the museum and get in. No, there's literally nothing in regard to services very close to the museum. So you will need a ride of some kind, or to rent a car, which I did. And so you want to think about that as well. So the other thing is that a lot of the folks going there are veterans of Tank Fest and know the ropes. And the vast majority are locals. You're going to meet a lot of people from a lot of different countries, like Wales. Actually, I met a lot of people from a lot of different countries. It just so happened that the guys in front of me in the line were from Wales and speaking Welsh, and I introduced myself, and we had a laugh. And yes, they were all gingers. Part squirrel, part Welsh. So the other thing I would tell you is that there's a lot of single dads on Dad's Weekend. Don't let it get you sad. It just happens. They don't have VIP tickets, by the way, especially the Welsh, and they all bring a chair or a blanket, something like that. Something I didn't bring on the plane with me. I very well could have bought one at a sporting goods store in the town I was staying in, or at least picked up some kind of waterproof blanket to sit on. It had rained the night before, so the ground was quite wet and quite muddy, and there literally is nowhere to sit at any time. So if you're planning on being there for the day, and you are a line cook and you're used to standing all day, or a construction worker, that's cool. I, however, am a veal calf, and I'm kept in a stall and force-fed antibiotics and milk all day, and to me, it was hard. So, and I'm also old and crap and fat. So expect the ground to be wet. It inevitably rains at every Tank Fest. It's quite grassy and quite muddy in places. Expect there for very long queues for nearly everything. So I actually got there really early because I was told about this. But what I didn't know was, in my pleb line, there's a VIP line as well that starts. And so the VIPs get ahead of you. So even if you're one of the first people there in the pleb line, you still have an hour and a half, 2-hour wait to get into the museum proper, or to see any streamers if that's your thing. So expect that. And I was too cool, and I didn't do that. I checked it out, and I was like, eh. And the fact is that aside from the Tiger, I've seen many of the tanks that are in there at other armored events. We have those in North America as well, and you should check them out. You probably have an armored event near you, whether you know it or not. You should check that out. There won't be UK streamers there, however. No European streamers either. They don't make the hop across the pond because that trip is quite expensive, and Wargaming probably wouldn't pay them to go to our plinky little Tank Fest outside of Bovington. So and I've been told that meeting the World of Tanks community contributors does take ages, but props to those guys. They put in a full work day. They really do, for the most part. They do take breaks. They want to see the tanks too, and so on. But really, people in line who've met them several times, they really do put in a full day to try to meet as many people as possible. So if you're patient and that's your goal, it'll happen. More than likely. unless it's a bad day. But I want to talk about that's kind of the complaining, getting the warnings out of the way. So there's nowhere to sit, and yeah, I don't have to worry about money too much. But the food and beverages can be pretty expensive for a lot of people. So if you're going there on a budget, I don't know, sneak a bacon roll from Sainsbury's in your jacket, and maybe a couple tins. But that's kind of the warnings out of the way. So the upsides. There are so many tanks there, and there's so many visiting tanks for the Tank Fest event. Now, the most of the visiting tanks will be, and I'm going to show one of the ones that I did see out in the yard, the Yak Tiger. It wasn't in the Tank Fest event museum bit, but there's just a ton of tanks there. And in the tank yard, which is not in the cover of the museum, and all the pics I'll show in this are actually taken there, there's a huge variety of restored and running tanks. And the museum volunteers, while maybe not the community contributor you were hoping to meet, are close at hand. Really friendly guys, really knowledgeable. And if they don't know something about a particular tank, they sure as hell know someone who does. And I had really great conversations with a lot of these fellas, and they really know their shit, and they're really enthusiastic, and they're really glad to talk to you. So don't be shy. Go up and strike up a conversation, and they'll put you in the right direction too. And if they're a particularly prickly guy, they'll usually show you to somebody who would rather talk to you than they will. So don't be shy. It's really cool. A lot of the reenactors are the same way. If you have any questions about the kit and what they're doing, they're more than happy to show off and talk to you. I think it's a really fun part of the event as well. So despite the crowd there, you can actually get a view of the tanks running about in the arena. That's not a problem. Just, be prepared to stand around and maybe push through the crowd a little bit. But everybody was really friendly. It was a really good experience from a people perspective. Everybody's there for the same reason. Everybody's pretty enthusiastic. Everybody wants to let somebody else have a chance to see. I didn't meet anybody who camped up their spot, gave you the elbow. It wasn't like British pubs in the 80s. So the other thing, Bovington isn't near a proper sized town with services, but it is an opportunity, if you haven't, to see a bit of the countryside in southern England, which is gorgeous. Gorgeous. So I really encourage you. I know you want to get there early, right? And get the bit in your teeth and get the knock on from A to B. We're burning daylight. But England is a beautiful country with lovely lanes, manors, castles, fields, and forests in all directions from Bovington. And do a little bit of homework. And maybe you don't stay at Tank Fest all day, but get in the car and look around. There are some amazing features to see just on your drive out of there. Take your time. It's gorgeous. Not the base itself, but around there, manors, castles, lanes, beautiful fields. It's a great time of year to see England. Everything's lush and green and blooming, and I'm in love with the place, and I will continue to go back for the rest of my life, and I think it's an opportunity. So don't completely focus the success of your trip on getting to Bovington and meeting Jingles and seeing a Tiger 131. There's other stuff. You can see the country that the Germans were trying to conquer while you're there as well. Lastly, although I wasn't close by Bovington where I stayed, I was about an hour-ish away. The town I stayed in was lovely. And I took the time to see what was there as well. There were actually a couple museums, different kind of museums, but a couple things to go and see there. Found a local pub that was a camera pub, real ale. Met some locals, buy around, strike up some conversation. I had such a laugh with the locals there that I ended up staying an extra day and going out on some guy's boat with a bunch of his mates and just had a great time. Drank some real ale, had a nice time, saw the local area, made some friends. We're not still in touch, but it was a great experience while it lasted. So those are my pointers. Bring a blanket or a chair. If you don't have money, sneak some food in your jacket, and be patient and see the country you're in. If you're not from England, if you're coming from outside, particularly if you're from North America, you get a chance to see a country that's been groomed by a country of gardeners for 2,000 years. And it's a worthy experience. Anyway, I hope this is helpful. And if you have any questions, put them in the comments. And good luck. One last thing. The Tank Museum in Bovington is directly across the street from Monkey World, a primate rescue habitat. And that just seems poor planning.